What time is it? It is dish time with this beautiful sunset behind me. So let's get started because it's almost dark. I wanted to show you dish time here because this is probably going to be the most efficient. Other places that have sinks, you don't need me to tell you how to wash a dish. I have my water bucket here. I have a little basin that I just put just a small amount of water in, basically just to cover the bottom. The Dr. Bronner's soap. I have the rag I'm going to be using. This is the one I got at Gifford House in Capitol Reef National Park, and it has been wonderful. I have a spray bottle, just water inside. I have a scraper, rubber here, hard plastic here. Dish gloves, I'm not going to need to use them here, but in cold weather, these are amazing. They keep your hands warm with the cold water. And I have one of my black towels. And finally, a towel to dry with. What dishes do I have to wash? Tonight I had lentil soup, which I made in the cast iron pot, and brown rice, which I made in a stainless steel pot. So I just have my bowl, a fork, a knife, and a spoon, a cooking spatula, and measuring cup that I just used to ladle out the soup. I also have my 2 pots. I made my lentil soup in here. I made my brown rice in here. The brown rice, no matter what, always seems to stick to the bottom, even though I put it on the lowest setting possible, and cooks faster than what you normally would cook it at home. So I let this soak, and I'm actually going to turn the burner on and try and heat it up a little bit to get some of that sticky stuff off the bottom. In the meantime, I'm going to take care of this cast iron pot. So when you're cooking without a dishwashing station at a campsite, cooking with cast iron is actually pretty good because you don't use soap on it. So there's just some condensation there. I'm just going to dry this so that it doesn't rust. And I use the black towels for this because with the cast iron it can get kind of grimy, so I don't want to use my good towels for that, and I'll put this in the washing bag afterwards. I was able to get out most of the liquid from the lentil soup, but we just have a little bit at the bottom and a couple pieces of onion left over. So I'm going to try and clean that out with the spatula. I'm just going to use this side to wipe out the cast iron. And then I'm going to add a little oil just to season it again. And turn it inside out. This goes in the bag with the other towels to be washed. The cast iron is all clean. Let's see how the rice pot is doing. For the rice pot, I'm going to use this.
This is indispensable.
Because you can't really let things soak when you're at the campsite, because usually you're racing against the sun, or you just don't want to be sitting around with dirty dishes left to do. So either find one that is heat resistant or just like wait till things cool a little bit. So this is almost boiling, so I'm going to let it cool for just a minute. And in the meantime, we'll go clean the other stuff. Okay, so I have my water bucket for dirty water. I have kind of a rinse bucket with just a small amount of water, like a 1/2 inch on the bottom. I have my spray bottle, my soap, and my dish towel. Now, what makes things easier is if you can kind of pre-clean your plate, either by scraping everything up with your utensil or by licking it. I wasn't really able to do that with this bowl because it's a big bowl. But if I were doing this with a plate, it would be a lot easier, or I would like rinse it down with this before anything could dry on there. So I'm just gonna, oops. This spray bottle is great because you use such little water and it's more targeted and more, the stream is stronger than if you just had like a cup and you were pouring the water to rinse it. So in just a few squirts, this is now clean, rinsed, ready to dry. See, I let this fork dry with rice on it, so it's kind of sticky. So what I'm going to do actually is put it into the pot with the hot water with the rice, and that should loosen it up. Another good tip with plates and bowls is don't put them in like a soaking container, because then you have to wash the bottom. Whereas if all that's dirty is the top, you don't have to spend time soaping and then rinsing. Let's see if that fork got unstuck. Oh yeah. Hot water is your friend. I usually clean while I go, so you might notice I don't have any like prep materials to clean. And a lot of times that's because I don't need soap for that. I can just kind of wet a towel and wipe it down, like the cutting knife or the prep bowls. I'll usually just kind of rinse out if it's just dirty from washing veggies. So the last thing to clean is the rice pot. On the bottom there, oh yeah, see that?
This thing is indispensable.
Good. It cleaned it really well. I think I can get the rest off with just the towel. One thing, if you're camping in cold weather, or if you have a dishwashing station with just cold water, it can undo all of your hot water work in an instant and just re-harden everything. So, particularly if you're working with really cold water, try not to have any dried food on the things that you're washing before it hits the cold water. Okay, so these go back here. So then just rinse this out, pour this in here. We'll do another little rinse of that and the towel. So this is good to set to dry. This is pretty clean because we didn't have food in there, like food particles. After 2 meals of cooking and 1 of reheating, we only have water to about there. So I'm doing pretty good. I've got 3 nights left here, so that's really good. So after I dishwash, I usually like to just put everything away as quickly as possible so that I'm not doing stuff after dark and I can just sit and relax. So I'm gonna do that now. I have this little trash can. Probably could have gone with something bigger, but it fits just regular plastic bags and it keeps the amount of trash I have to dispose of manageable, so I don't have to always look for a big dumpster. And it fits kind of right behind and in the center of the 2 front seats, so I can just keep it there, and if I need to throw something away while I'm driving, just reach back and pop the lid. And that's that.